Johnny Carson controlled late-night television from behind that desk with almost complete composure, but certain women sat down across from him and made his composure's legitimacy questionable.
How are you?
Good.
I had high hopes, I don't know why. Steady animals. A little decorum here.
These are the women that made Johnny Carson visibly nervous. Amy Irving.
Found a picture in a magazine of a beautiful hotel.
I know what you're talking
Wait a second. I went there, checked in, went immediately down to the Mediterranean Sea, jumped in, went to this raft. Everyone was going topless, so I whisked off my top. And I was lying back thinking, isn't this great? It's so beautiful, away from everything. And I look up, and there you are, standing outside a cabana with binoculars.
Irving gets Carson publicly caught mid-stare and forces him to keep hosting while the whole room processes exactly what just happened to his composure. Adrienne Barbeau.
There seems to be an opening for a little conversation right there.
Fire extinguishers.
You get fire extinguishers?
I got a fire extinguisher. I got flares for my car. I got a necklace that had St. Christopher on one side and a Star of David on the other. And this year I'm getting a set of World Book encyclopedias.
That's from the Phi Beta Kappa lover, I said. When you say lovers, you mean lovers?
More than one, yes.
I'll be doggone.
Well, what would I say?
Barbeau stays perfectly calm through a suggestive couch exchange that leaves Johnny visibly aware he's no longer fully running the dynamic of the conversation happening in front of him. Ginger Rogers follow hers across the Tonight Show stage. Marilu Henner.
Sitting there in the audience, we don't know what they're supposed to be doing. It was just the commentators tell you what they're missing, so then, then you think something's off. But sitting there, nobody's talking, so, we just...
You probably saw more of the events than we did. There was a lot of up-close and personal things in this Olympics. You ever notice that? Just as the guy was coming down the ski jump, they would cut away to Lars Lundström.
Well, I thought CBS did a
in
great
Sweden
job.
someplace and talk to his folks. And they'd cut back and they could jump us over. He did that all the time.
Well...
When did Lars first... Oh, he was just a little kid. He learned and we missed the whole... Then you go to Lars where Lars got his first spreader. Yes, Lars just bought his groceries here last week.
Candice moves through the segment fast enough and warm enough that Johnny has to stay actively alert just to catch everything she sends his way before the next sentence arrives. Candice Bergen.
You know, those were Philly powerhouse
You're pretty
ladies.
honest now. If you really want to...
Frankly, I had a great time with those ladies.
Yeah.
I didn't work with all of them,
Right.
but I was crazy about Angie Dickinson and Joanna Cassidy, and they were women that I hadn't known before. I was very happy to get to know them.
Right.
And we had a good time.
Are you saying that... You're not saying that it was a typical portrayal of Hollywood wives? I mean, that kind of stuff goes on in this little village?
Well, how do you see it personally?
I was, well, as you know.
Keeping her timing so controlled and polished, Candice made Carson seemingly have no choice but to come toward the joke instead of waiting for her to deliver it at his own comfortable pace. Christie Brinkley. Brinkley walks in.
Come change. So I went running in, standing up straight, and bam! I got this spider web right across my face. I went, ah! And I was
a
trying
good
to
normal reaction.
And I saw something in my hair over here, big and black. And I turned to the photographer and said, get it out, get it out. And the photographer went, ew. And when I saw him
Was
do
it a spider?
Well, no. It was just a barrette that was holding my hair back.
The famous snapping barrette. Very dangerous. Don't see them often.
And Johnny spends the rest of the segment visibly managing how obviously he's enjoying every single answer she gives from the other side of the desk. Catherine O'Hara.
And you did some devastatingly impressions of various people.
Yeah, we all did.
You all, you used to do...
I used to do a lot, yeah.
Yeah, who did you do? I don't want to put you on the spot, but you did...
No, when I was a kid, I started, like, when I was 11 or 12, started doing them.
Mimicking
But I
people?
would impersonate, impersonators.
Right.
So, and there were mostly men, so all I did was men.
Well, that's
When I was,
funny.
like, 11 or 12, James Mason.
James Mason?
This is James Mason. Mason came with the cow.
Catherine brings flirtation through mixing sweet timing with sudden impression left turns that make Johnny's reactions more honest than professional, since she never performs charm at him directly, but instead makes the conversation strange enough that his guard relaxes without him fully noticing the process happening.
I'm sorry?
Can you remember any part of it?
Oh, I used to have to
do
go
Marty Short teaching you.
He has a low voice doing it, but which is great. I think guys do Katharine Hepburn better than women do. I like how I say do. I do Katharine Hepburn. But I used to have to go into a room. And go, trying to wreck my throat
to get it down in here.
You can see she doesn't try to overwhelm him with glamour, but just finds the specific angle in every exchange and lets it sit there long enough to turn funny, which keeps Carson reacting from the audience's side of the joke rather than safely above the moment. Lara Flynn Boyle.
But, they're willing to, tell you how great you are and that, and it's nice to have people like your family around who are honest with you.
Yeah, can you tell the people who are giving you those kind of flattering accolades that they're not sincere?
Producers, people that, say they can get you a job or,
Oh, did you ever do commercials? We were talking about commercials.
I did a lot of print ads, and I did a commercial for Fruit Roll-Ups or something, and
Fruit Loops?
Fruit Roll-Ups. Yeah, and I was out there.
You probably remember that, don't you, Tony? Holy man who would know the commercial Fruit Roll-Ups, but you missed that one, huh?
Lara Flynn Boyle's appearance from 1991 has a different charge from the older Hollywood glamour moments, with a quiet confidence that makes Carson adjust his approach rather than her adjusting to his, since the gap between her early 90s register and his classic late-night rhythm is itself the source of tension that makes the segment interesting rather than simply comfortable to watch from the host's chair.
Tell me, sir, somebody said you've got a dog, but I didn't understand this.
Yeah,
that has its own...
Well, I have a golden retriever named Bella, and she has several little stuffed animals. And I was in New York once, and I bought her like an $80 stuffed animal. And I went up to the cashier and I said, this is really horrible, but this is for my dog, But she has a little chick that she carries around, and she licks them. She thinks they're her babies.
I think it's because I thought he had a live pet.
Oh,
when someone says he's got his own pet, I said, boy, that's really status.
No.
A dog that has another dog,
She might someday.
That was my thinking. What did you think when you heard that? Dog has his own pet? I thought it was another, like a chicken.
She doesn't over-explain herself or reach for audience approval the way guests who were less certain of their own image sometimes did at that desk, giving the exchange a slightly mysterious edge that Johnny seems genuinely curious about, rather than simply moving through a list of prepared questions. Barbara Hershey.
1986, and you came back. Yeah, do you find these shows difficult to do or what?
Come on
now. You get nervous or what?
Yeah, well, it's entertainment, and I'm an actor. I'm not an entertainer, and I was trying to, it's hard to come up with stuff that's entertaining. Last night, I said to my boyfriend and my son at dinner, I said, come on, just think of something that's funny that's happened to us in the last 4 years, and this is what they did. Both of them did this. That was it.
Yes, they must know our staff. Remember the staff? The staff will do that sometime.
Barbara Hershey's Tonight Show interview carries a quieter charge than any of the louder flirtation moments in this list, with an intensity and guarded warmth that makes Johnny's attention feel more focused and more considered than his usual couch position typically required across a standard celebrity promotional visit.
Who else? Wasn't somebody else in your family in the entertainment business?
No. No. This is a story of actually how much my parents were not in show business. It was when I was 16, and I was going to meet my future agent with my parents, and they sat them down, and we were all sitting there, and they said, okay, do you have any relatives in show business? And my father said that he had an aunt who once rented an apartment at Gracie Allen.
That's close.
That's how much they weren't in show business.
She doesn't need broad charm gestures because the magnetic quality of her seriousness pulls the conversation toward her without any visible performance of effort. And that specific kind of pull is the one Carson had the most interesting time navigating because it didn't offer him the obvious familiar handles of either open warmth or provocative edginess that he knew how to work with. Penelope Ann Miller.
Related at all. Well, actually, my father, thank you. My father's side of the family is from Texas.
Well, you don't have any Texas accent at all.
Well, because I wasn't born there.
That would account for it.
But we did actually have a family reunion, and it's hard, and there was about 95 of us. So
did you know most of them?
No, actually I didn't. I've only met a few, and oh, by the way, I must say that my father is your age.
Penelope Ann Miller's 1991 Carson appearance works through a polished calm that gives Johnny space to lead, while still pulling his attention consistently in her direction throughout the segment, carrying early 90s movie star energy without the stiffness that sometimes came with it in the later Tonight Show years when the format was starting to feel slightly out of step with where the broader culture had moved since the show's peak decade in the 1970s.
I hope there's a nice finish to this. Okay.
And he just had a baby, which means that he can have sex and he can.
Of course. Men into their 70s and 80s have fathered children.
Right. So I just want you to know, in case you were thinking about it.
No, I'm not thinking of it. No, I try not to think of it.
But, you know, everything's still working.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, it's open 9 to 5, too. Yes. Anyway.
The flirtation sits mostly in how he watches her answers, rather than in anything either person says explicitly, letting the rhythm stay professionally smooth while giving the audience small reactions from behind the desk that tell them exactly where his attention has landed, without him needing to say anything that would disturb the surface composure the format still required of him, even in its final seasons on the NBC schedule. Her quiet screen presence doesn't need big gestures to hold the room, a combination that the more aggressively charming guests from the same era sometimes overcalculated and overplayed at that same desk. Victoria Principal.
Is there any room in here for a Latin lover?
In an earthquake, it must be.
Yeah. Does this take place in Los Angeles, the earthquake?
Yeah, it's supposedly the earthquake that knocks LA off the map. But I play an Italian girl, a very lusty, sort of voluptuous.
Lusty, are you Italian?
Am I Italian? Principale. Vittorio.
You're another Italian over here.
Oh, you are Italian, eh?
Yeah.
I used to be Italian.
Did you?
For the operation.
Victoria Principal's Carson appearance has the energy of a young actress who arrived in the studio already knowing exactly how she wanted the interview to read, carrying a poise and composure that made Carson's usual host control feel slightly less automatic than it did with guests who came in more deferentially, and spent the segment working toward a chemistry that Principal simply walked in with and placed on the desk before the first question had even been asked of her. She's polished without being calculated, which is a specific combination that Johnny responds to with that classic amused attention where he lets the guest speak while quietly trying to shape the moment around her composure without appearing to do any visible work in service of that shaping, a task that becomes considerably harder when the guest is already doing her own independent shaping from the couch before he's established the conversation's direction. Vanity turning the interview into a staring match.
I went to Tahiti.
Somebody said you were in Tahiti.
Yes.
Yeah, do you like it? Beautiful?
Oh, I loved it. For the first time, I went snorkeling.
Oh, that's
I felt
fun.
like a fish.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, bodies look so wonderful naked in the water. You look like a fish, and you could tell by people's
You snorkeled
pubic
naked?
hairs, you know, who they were going by, the color, you know. Am I going to get believed?
What lagoon were you in?
No,
You mean you snorkel in the buff?
Have you ever walked naked through the bushes? It's the
Only
most
in an extreme emergency.
Vanity's 1985 Carson appearance has a specific charge from the very first moment that separated it from everything else in this collection, bringing a music video era, directness, and self-possession that made Johnny's practiced old-school late-night timing feel suddenly and specifically tested in a way the more classically trained Hollywood glamour guests simply couldn't produce, regardless of how much charisma or professional experience they carried to that desk over the decades that preceded her. She holds herself with a directness that makes the room feel like it's operating at a subtly different temperature from the normal Tonight Show broadcast, with every answer delivered from a position of complete control over how much of herself the segment was actually going to receive, regardless of what questions were asked or how carefully they were framed before she chose to address them on her own terms. The flirtation comes through in the way she uses silence, letting pauses do work that other guests would have filled with additional words or additional effort in pursuit of a laugh or a visible moment of connection with the home audience, and the silence lands harder from her than it would from almost anyone else who occupied that couch position during that specific era of the show. Johnny seems simultaneously amused and genuinely careful throughout, as if he understands that this conversation can turn suggestive with almost no warning, and that arriving at any specific moment unprepared for that possibility would produce something more interesting than comfortable for everyone still present in the building. Which of these women do you think made Johnny Carson the most genuinely nervous? Drop your answer in the comments and subscribe for more classic Tonight Show moments that remind you why nothing in late-night television has ever quite looked like that show did in its prime.